The book of Matthew, in chapter 24 and verse 7, it says, "And nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famine and pestilences and earthquakes in a variety or diversity of places in the earth." This video is about the present and even more intensifying coming of civil unrest in the United States of America. Now, some years ago, I feel like I did not have a proper understanding of how the media is used when it comes to the minds. Talking about mind control, subliminally and overtly, controlling the thoughts and opinions of the masses, the herds. I didn't know that was a real thing. So I started doing research, I'm gonna say about a year and a half ago. But, more recently, this year, I've been reading a book called Crystallizing Public Opinion by Edward Bernays. And in this book, he is talking about what public relations is, and more specifically, what public relations counselor is. And so far, what I'm getting from it is that these people, no matter if it's about making money, making or wanting a certain political decision to take place through legislation, anything that involves the opinion of the public, this is what the Public Relations Council specializes in. Because according to this man, he's saying in the early 1900s, maybe even earlier than that, people, leaders, people who are in control and power understood that it is better to make things happen by already influencing the masses concerning what they want them to think, and then going forward with it, rather than just putting something on people and expecting them to go through with it. So the United States media, most of it, is used for these purposes. And this is fueling the civil unrest that is already present here in the United States of America. It says nation against nation. That nation, in its regional context, is ethnos, and I believe that it's talking about people groups. And when you look at what is taking place today, where an event will happen, a lot of times something really awful will happen within a certain community, and the media blasted a certain type of way, and how that particular community or group of people, a lot of times, end up responding in anger, as they should. But a lot of times people don't ask the right questions, because this takes place should I say, every community is targeted psychologically to provoke them to think a certain way. The end game goal of this use of media is to get people so angry at each other, so wound up with one another, that when unbearable disaster strikes, people will divide. And the scripture also says in the Bible that a nation that is divided will fall. A kingdom that's divided against itself will fall. Well, the United States of America is a nation that has many nations and people groups in it. Okay. And the most primitive mindsets of human beings, when people are pushed to the edge and put in uncomfortable situations, circumstances, they tend to go and bond and bind with those who are like themselves. I hear this is exactly what it's like in the prisons. Well, that's one thing. But as a nation of people who pay taxes, who vote, who try their best to influence the decisions of what's taking place in the country, people who feel like they have a stake in the country and a citizenship, when these people, no matter what community or group they're coming from, when these people are divided, this is when those who are not of that country will come in and take advantage of the division. Then that threat may not just be from the outside. That threat can be from the inside. Yes, those who are inside, who might just set certain conditions and help influence certain conditions of the nation, and then unlock the door and let the enemy right in. Okay? So you have to know this is being done to bring people further apart from one another, make people angry at each other. And you have to be careful out there, because some people are already walking around with that mindset. Us against them. That's not gonna last. I don't care how strong you think your group is, your group of people. When it comes to this nation, the people do not come together and bind together. When the enemy comes in, they'll pick us off. Especially if the enemy comes from within to initiate this. People won't see it coming. My particular community, we have a history of groups and organizations that were for the empowerment of Black people being infiltrated by those with other agendas to see sure that those organizations and their operations were destabilized. So this scripture is deep. And the use of the media to get people riled up against each other and divided against one another, to bring more civil unrest and people angry at each other, ready to fight one another, just from appearance. This is by design. So remember that Matthew chapter 24, verse 7, that's what it looks like in the United States of America. Make everybody angry at everybody. Everybody's got a reason to be angry. Some people more than others. You start talking about corruption and injustice, innocent people getting hurt. But you better be paying close attention to the media, how the media is blasting certain things, and how it's reporting certain things, and why they're saying it, and the timing. These people already get you to think what they want you to think, so they can make a move, and you go right into compliance with it. This is the art of deception. Bless you.